Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Sergio de la Torre on the line, and he's Managing Director over at Spotlight Asset Group. Sergio, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on.
So I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at Spotlight Asset Group and how you're helping your clients. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and in business?
That's fantastic. Thanks so much. Great question. I am a born and raised Texan, married to my high school sweetheart, and just sent our daughter to her second semester sophomore year at the University of Kentucky. And so, how I ended up in this industry is very interesting. I've always been interested in business. I started going to school for business back in El Paso, Texas, where I'm from. Due to opportunity and growth, my wife and I moved to Dallas, Texas, and it was actually through a friendship in my neighborhood where a really good friend of mine, who's now a great mentor, saw some potential and asked me if I'd be interested in a financial services career. And so I was 22 years old and with a very young family. And I remember him saying, I think you'd be great. Would you like to come work at one of the largest institutions in the world? And so I went out for an interview and started my journey down financial services with Fidelity Investments, and grew in the career quite a bit. I was very fortunate to not only get all of my licensing, but advanced licensing, training, and ultimately over the years not only be promoted to a number of different roles throughout the country, but also participate in some very, very, very unique groups and training offerings that Fidelity had for a very, very finite group of folks. And so that's what brought me to Atlanta. From there, I very, very fortunate and grateful to the training and career that I developed, but I was really looking for more, and so I went on a quest to work in a much more comprehensive, more in-depth financial planning approach, and started at another firm a few years ago. It wasn't necessarily exactly what I was looking for, and ultimately found Spotlight. I've known the folks at Spotlight for many, many years. In fact, our CFO and I went to a training together 15 years ago and stayed in touch.
Wow.
This whole time. Yeah. And so
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. And for everybody listening, that's what they always say. You never know who you're going to know and what's going to happen down the line and what you 15 years ago. Come on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Sergio, let's go a little bit further into what you do and how you help your clients. So tell us a little bit more about Spotlight Asset Group and the kind of clients you work with.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So, we created Spotlight because we saw a need in the financial services industry to provide clients with complete transparency into their overall financial situation. And so we're dedicated to serving our clients and adhering to, we have three guiding principles: transparency, technology, and total wealth. And so what we do is we really take a group of clients that we work very, very closely with. The range of assets, it really does range, depending on a client's situation. But our average client has about $1 million of investable assets. Some have less, and it's just a situation where it makes sense, and we're happy to work with them. And certainly some have more in investable assets. And so we work very, very close with our clients in really providing some core values and good in-depth financial planning. We help them with their organization. We want to help make them accountable, hold them accountable, help them follow through on their financial commitments. We want to provide objectivity. We're proactive. We're constantly reaching out, connecting with our clients. We're very, very interested and want to make sure that we follow through on educating our clients and ultimately creating a partnership that is both, again, very important to us, transparent and fruitful over the life of the relationship.
So let's go a little bit further down that line of comprehensive planning and what that means. So speaking of education, I don't want to assume that everybody listening to this right now knows what a comprehensive financial plan looks like. Can you go a little bit further down that path?
Absolutely, yeah. So when we talk about, and I'm glad you framed it that way, because you're right, comprehensive means a lot of things to a lot of people, but really we start with understanding where our clients are at in the present moment. So where they are from a financial standpoint. How much have they been able to save? What are their expenses and liabilities? What are their sources of income? And really understanding and creating this foundation of who they are and where they are today in their life. We then want to understand what's most important to them, right? So we go through a process of uncovering not just their financial priorities, but really their life priorities and what means the most to them as they navigate the rest of their life. And then we help them create a financial plan. So again, using technology to grasp their investable assets, their expenses, their income, their liability, and help them project out what that looks like, and then create a plan of action. How are we going to take those assets and invest them? What does it mean from a tax standpoint? Where are they from a current tax bracket standpoint? How do we generate the most amount of income with the least amount of taxes and risk, and really help them create this picture of what their financial life looks like, what we project it to look like going forward, and then what we need to do along the way to help keep them disciplined and ultimately on task to their goals.
Let's go and let's talk a little bit more about what total wealth means. So you have these three T's: tax, transparency, and total wealth. What does total wealth mean to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. We look at total wealth from a number of contributing factors. First and foremost, when we think about wealth for our clients, we think about their money and how much they've saved, how much they earn, and ultimately how much of what they earn they keep, right? So a determination between income and expenses. But we take it beyond that, and we look at things like real estate. Many of our clients, and frankly people in general, hold a tremendous amount of wealth in their homes, in their second homes, in their investment properties, and so we really want to make sure that we account and understand where that fits into the big picture. We also take a look at more intangibles when it comes to their wealth. One of the things we've talked about, that I've talked about for many years, is just how important time is and enjoying what you do. And so understanding where they are and what's important to them on how they spend their time, and really aligning all of their resources to help them maximize and really create joy out of how they spend their time. And so we kind of look at it from not just, hey, how much money do you have? How should we invest it? But also, hey, what's important to you? What have you learned along the way? How can we best partner with you so that we can take this incredible asset and help you work, help it work for you in your favor and supporting the things that mean the most. And so when we think of total wealth, it's really not just about the money, the income, the taxes, the estate plan, and all, kind of all the traditional wealth management. We also think of it in terms of where they live and what that means to them, and ultimately who they live with and how they spend their time.
That's awesome. So, Sergio, if anybody's listening to this and they want more information on Spotlight Asset Group or to follow up with you, what's the best route for them to connect?
Yeah, so I think 3 ways to connect with us. The first is on our website, spotlightassetgroup.com. You can connect with me or Spotlight through LinkedIn. We're very active on LinkedIn. Certainly, you can look for Spotlight Asset Group or myself, Sergio Della Torre. And then my email is dellatorre@spotlightassetgroup.com. And so we're absolutely excited to help in any way that we can. One of the things we talk about all the time, Adam, is we may not be able to work with everybody, but we can help everybody. And so we're happy to sit down and provide anybody with any help that we think we can give.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Sergio, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Spotlight Asset Group. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Sergio, thanks again for coming on the show.